Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This evening I'm going to be doing a review of a thriller from Mexico, Spanish language English subs, released in the year 2011, directed by Gerardo Naranjo, and this movie is called Miss Bala. And the story to Miss Bala is as follows. The drug war just got personal. Set in Mexico's border city of Baja, Miss Bala chronicles 3 terrifying days in the life of Laura, a beautiful young girl whose humble effort to escape a life of grim poverty goes diabolically wrong. When Laura's aspirations of becoming a beauty queen turn against her, she is delivered into the hands of a violent gang of drug smugglers. Although she succeeds in winning the beauty queen crown, her experiences as an unwilling participant in Mexico's violent war leave her shaken and transformed. Combining explosive thrills with mesmerizing action sequences and vivid imagery, Miss Bala is a taut, tense descent into a terrifying world of corruption, danger, and deceit that will leave you gasping for air. So the movie, Laura is the main character. She is living in a very poor community. Her life is full of poverty, and she dreams of making a better life for her younger brother, and her father, who she lives with. So one day, her best friend, comes up to her and she says that there is a beauty pageant coming up and that there are auditions being held. So this might be the occasion to kind of get them out of this poverty. So Laura agrees to go with her. They go to the auditions, but things don't work out so well, so they're not able to get in. But her friend tells her, don't worry, I've got connections and hopefully they'll be able to get us in. So they go to this party in the evening, and this is where the connection is supposed to be. It's a very sleazy atmosphere. There's a lot of DEA officers there. And this party, for the reasons that the DEA officers are there, the party is targeted by a group of armed, masked gunmen. So these gunmen storm the party, they shoot up everyone, they kill all the police officers, and they also kill a few innocent people at the party. So Laura manages to escape this, and she wants to know what's happened to her friend because she hasn't heard anything. So the next day she decides to report it, and she wants to know what happened to her friend. But the police officer she reported it to has connections to the gang. So the corruption is there. So she ends up being delivered to the gang. The gang want to know what to do with her. They don't want to kill her, so they decide that they're going to make use of her. They're going to force her to do drug smuggling and also set up people that they want killed. So Laura's life has been thrust into a very violent world, whether she likes it or not, and whether or not she comes out of this in one piece, that's something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now, my thoughts on the film. This isn't the first movie that basically details the life in Mexico. We all know about the drug problems in Mexico. We all know that it's besieged with a lot of terror and that there's a lot of chaos. And I think it's very tragic to see that apparently 36,000 people have lost their lives in the drug war. And that's not all criminals. A lot of that has to do with civilians as well. So it really feels like a battlefield, and it feels like the country is really losing its grip on law. And it feels like that these kingpins in the drug world are the law, and it feels like they've basically got free reign. And in today's world, that is pretty hard to believe, because apparently $25 billion has been generated from the drugs. So it kind of tells you how big this operation is. And what's chilling about this whole thing is that even the police are in on this. So it kind of feels like the money has bought everyone, and that the Mexican civilians, the people, are actually the only victims in this war. And it feels like the police force are just as bad as the drug smugglers, and you hear so many stories, and it's just really tragic. So as soon as I saw that this movie was based on this sort of subject, I thought, why not give it a go? It was fairly cheap. And a lot of other films do tackle this subject, but I felt that they don't tackle it very well because they have a central character that chooses to go into the drug trade. So therefore, you don't really get a lot of sympathy for them. I know a few other films that I've reviewed has this problem in that they come from a very poor community, and the film kind of feels like, these sorts of films that I'm talking about, kind of feels like they're condoning the drug use and the drug smuggling because of the impoverished community that they're from. So you're supposed to feel sorry for them, but it doesn't work because they're breaking the law. They're contributing to the problem. And that's what I felt. My hesitations with this film is that it could have painted Laura as a victim, but whereas she's just contributing to it. But what I loved about the movie is that Laura didn't want to be part of this world. She's from a poor community, but she wanted to become a better person, and she wanted more money for her family in a very honest way. And when she goes to this beauty pageant, she wants to do it, she doesn't get in, but her friend makes her believe that there is another way. So she goes to the party, and this is where they're attacked. And so she didn't want to come into this world, and that's why you feel so sorry for her, and that's why, in my opinion, the film works so well. She's a very down-to-earth, she's an everyday sort of girl, she's a beautiful girl, but it was just a real pity, and it's just absolutely tragic in what she had to experience and what these drug smugglers were willing to do in order to basically exploit her. She was just an object to them, and it shows you how cold-hearted these drug smugglers are because of the lure of big money and the constant corruption between the drug smugglers and the police. The film is very chilling, very realistic. I love the way that the director used the camera angles. I thought it made you feel like you were there. And it doesn't glorify anything. There are some gun battles, but they're very realistic, very hard-hitting. Very realistically done in the fact that when it's shot at the screen, it feels like it's coming through the screen and at you. So it's done in a very in-your-face sort of style. The violence isn't glorified. The drug trade isn't glorified. It's just a very ugly world where innocent people are caught up in it. The pacing of the movie was very good, although I will say that on the front it says an explosive Mexican thriller. I wouldn't say it's explosive. I would say it feels like it's lethargic. It's a very depressing world, and that's exactly what the film should have been. So to say that it's an explosive thriller minute, that it has a thrill ride with more twists and turns than a Tarantino movie, that's very misleading. But if you go into it with the right mindset, you are going to enjoy it. Now, I just dismissed this one as another action film. Now, because it was so cheap and because it was from Mexico, I wanted to give it a go. And I was expecting something of an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, but it was completely different, and that's what took me by surprise. And that's why I feel that it's one of the best movies that documents this very, very real problem in Mexico. So the acting was fantastic. Laura played a very, very sympathetic person, as I said, and the situation that she's faced in, it's out of her control. You want her to come out of this in one piece. And as I said, it was really chilling to see that these people that are supposed to protect the community are actually in cahoots with the people that are causing the community fear. So you never knew who to trust in the film. And for that, it left a lot of unpredictability, and you felt like Laura was all by herself, that everyone was against her, and the claustrophobic feeling was getting more and more. And the ending was absolutely mind-blowing. I think the very last scene, it kind of leaves it up to interpretation. I'm not quite sure. I haven't really figured out my own sort of twist on the film, but I felt that it was a very well polished sort of finish, in the fact that you're not quite sure and you can make up your own conclusions. So if you like that sort of ending, you're going to like this one. Soundtrack was fantastic, and as I said, the camera angles are very, very different. It feels like a documentary. It feels like you're right next to Laura and you're going through this as well. So the violence is not overdone, but it is very, very hard hitting. A lot of it is implied, but there is some of it it's very in your face, as I said. So it just shows you how corrupt Mexican authorities are, and how powerful the drug trade is, and just how terrifying Mexico is at the moment. So I know that this takes artistic license. Not everything in the movie is going to be real, but the majority, the overall subject is very real, and I thought that the director nailed it. He doesn't glorify it. He's not saying that this is the life to lead. He's just showing you the horror that is inside Mexico at the moment. So although it's not a horror film, I would say there is a horrifying sort of element to it, in the fact that these innocent people are being caught up in this terrible war every day. So it's nothing, something that we've heard before, but as far as filmmaking is concerned, I think this is one of the better films to tackle the subject. So overall, I'm giving it 4.5 stars. Very, very good film, and it's one I'm highly recommending. Alright guys, that's my review. Hope you enjoyed. Until next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.